Welcome back, everyone, to the LEC Summer Playoffs. Fnatic just secured their first win over G2 in 2020. And how? Let's take a look at the picks and bans. Caedral opened this up for me in terms of Fnatic. A lot of what we've gotten used to, a very strong pick for Selfmade.
Yeah, Hecarim. It's been banned out a lot yesterday. You saw in the Madline series. I think it's something that sjokz was running, the Hecarim Orianna. It's got such good engage, such good pick potential at level 6, and I really like their draft overall. I think that when they first picked Senna to kind of handshake on the Senna Ashe trade, you can see they went for a Braum into Nautilus. Now, I guess the bot matchup is kind of fine, but the whole team comp from G2 just has no engage in general. I think the only way you can start a fight really is with sort of a Gnar TP flank with Mega Gnar, but even then you can't really guarantee on that being reliable. Whereas Fnatic, they have like they have Hecarim, they have Hylissang on the Nautilus, they have the Ashe Arrow, they have the Bwipo Rengar ult with the Orianna Ball. They have so many tools to just get on you.
And when you look at the success of either of these teams, it's often about either the jungler or the support making big plays. And in this case, this jungle and support on the side of Fnatic have a lot of agency. Now, Selfmade is, of course, enabled by his team on this Hecarim initially before he carries it through. But on the side of G2, there's no one to really get the party started, and that sucks. Now, of course, you did see the Wonder Gnar have a few moments where he could find those big engages, use that ultimate, but that's a rage bar. Fnatic knows that's coming. It's not reliable. It's not consistent. And so G2, while this comp could have won, they definitely made it very hard on themselves.
They did, and when you talk about agency, one person we want to talk about actually for the entirety of this segment is Hylissang. We brought it up in ReadyCheck as people say he is coin flip, but he always has a vision in mind. And Caedral, that's how you want to look at these next few replays.
Yeah, you can see here he just walks into Fog of War. No matter if he dies here, he just wants to stop Perkz' base because right now the Herald is spawning in about 30 seconds if you look at the minimap, and bot wave's actually frozen for Fnatic. So if G2 get a base off here, they can just run straight topside. But what Hylissang does here is he wants to start a fight, he wants to stop Perkz' base, and he wants to keep them under the wave.
And as we start the replay again, you can see the fight actually in the end goes pretty even, working out in, again, Fnatic's favor. But it's, as you said, this single play that pretty much forces G2 to fight. And it's not just because of a pick here, but as you said, if they let Fnatic get away with this, it's hugely favorable. Now, good heads-up movement coming in from Nemesis and Selfmade make sure that Fnatic can turn this one back around. And additionally, Braum Senna on their own, not really a threat in any kind of burst exchange. So for Fnatic, this feels like Hylissang making a call and the entire team following, which is a massive shift from what we saw a few weeks ago.
Yeah, they're just playing so well around their mid-jungle level 6 spikes. Like I said in the draft, I think they played it so good. Like, they had one wave of prio, Hylissang goes and stops the bases, and the whole idea of this play is just a domino effect. Like, Hylissang stops the bases, then Fnatic pushes out the bot wave. They go for the full swap to Herald, which leads to them getting the Herald, which leads to the jungle and AD carry on Fnatic to be 1k gold up at like 15 minutes, which leads to a top fight. So this whole play kind of unlocks Fnatic's bot lane and moving around the map, taking over the map, getting mid-prio past 15 minutes, getting Heralds, getting Drakes, and just unlocking the entire game.
Yeah, thank you for breaking that down, because it might go unnoticed and you think, oh, is this just a random Hilly being in the wrong place at the right time? No, oftentimes there is a big plan behind it. And as you said, this cascading effect leads all the way into this favorable top lane fight from the side of Fnatic.
Yeah, I think that if Hylissang didn't stop those bases initially, then the game would look much different, because G2 would have been able to ones to get the Herald. G2 would have been the ones to be able to crack open the bot tower, but because they have their bot lane mid and their jungles ahead, they have first move from mid wave, and they instantly collapse on G2. The TPs come in, Jankos can't really fight this, because Fnatic's comp at level 6 to level 10 is just so strong.
And you can see here as well one of the big issues with Gnar. Now in this case he's chain CC'd down, but even then Wonder's coming in with good rage management. 90 rage, that maybe is the potential for a turnaround, but even then it is not instantaneous. It can be shut down, it can be interrupted, and Fnatic just show us that they're not giving any room for G2 maneuver, and the fact that they're snowballing so confidently against G2 is just massive in a best-of-5 series.
Yeah, and Selfmade and Hylissang played so well. I think when Perkz and Mickey tried to step up to push mid, even one Selfmade just went instantly on them. You saw when they tried to contest topside after Bwipo soloing Drake, Hylissang just instantly just flash hooks them. You know, they have so many tools of engage, and even in that top fight, they have so many ways of locking down champions, making sure they're on the right targets, and all of their damage is both single target and AoE.
And seem completely on the same page as well. A funny tweet came in from Upset after the game talking about how Hilly decides where you're going to go on the map. You have to walk to your Nexus versus Hylissang. He won't allow you to base. He would rather die. I mean, that's exactly what I think when I see him play.
I mean, the whole idea of stopping the base is for tempo, and Hylissang's the tempo king. He's either freezing the waves in your face and making you kill him to make you base later, or he's just going to chase you to your Nexus when they have the freeze. So,
the professor.
And the best, it's just always the best version of Fnatic Fnatic is a Fnatic where Hylissang is popping off, and Hylissang popping off at the start of the series is going to demand some changes in pick bans. Because there are those games where he goes too far, where you get an easy win because Hylissang's pushing a little bit too hard, but this is not one of those series, and this was not one of those games.
No, this was a fantastic game. Now, next game, of course, G2 gets the decision and is back on blue side. I want to think back of what caedral said in Reddit check. You said, I'm going to predict 3-1 just because it could very well be that G2 dropped the first game.
Yeah.
Now, the way in which they dropped the first game, was this in line with your expectations as well? And what adaptations will we see?
I mean, I feel like G2 in game 1 and best of 5 is always sort of a loss most of the times, but I mean, I just don't like the draft in general. Lilia, Braum doesn't really work well together. If you're going to pick Braum, you want like a Sejuani or a Rek'Sai, something with actual that can help him proc his passive. And normally you see in regions like the LPL, if you're going to trade the Senna Ashe, obviously on blue side you get to choose a Senna, so G2 feel way more confident on the Senna. You basically trade Nautilus Leona most of the time, unless you want to go for something like a Tamkench, but I would rather see Mickey X on a playmaker like Leona or the Nautilus, so it's very smart by Fnatic to put it away. So I would like to see some adaptation in jungle bot side. I think the solo lane picks are fine overall. I just think that the jungle bot synergy is really not there.
And the big question for me is, are G2 willing to take the Ashe if it continues to not be favorable for them to take the Senna? We saw a game on it from Perks. We were talking about it behind stage. You might remember it as the game where Alphari played Malphite and killed him just a million times. So has that improved? Is that something that G2 are comfortable playing around because it didn't look good the last time we saw it? Because if it's not, that is a big hole in their drafts.
We'll see what happens. Fnatic are looking to avenge the loss from spring finals, and so far, things are looking great. We'll be right back for game 2.